Hello again, EDF friends, and welcome back to our firing range where we are testing all the weapon types in the game. We're going to be finishing up Ranger this time. I'm going to be covering the special weapons and his items that he has as well, auxiliary items. So, the special items, I don't know, I almost feel like they should almost give a Ranger a third slot because a lot of these items are tough to want to just take up a weapon slot into battle. Except a few of them that are really strong, but I feel like they really need to add like a special weapon slot for him because, like for example, the impulses or the C70 bombs don't count because those are worth a slot, but like the impulses or the healing sometimes, firecrackers, flamethrowers even, I don't know. I feel like they kind of need to give him a third weapon slot. But anyway, let's get started here. The first section here of weapons are just acid guns. So he does still have his acid guns. They don't seem too different. Just of course the damage numbers have been altered a little bit. But they have some decent damage. But I don't know how often I would actually use them. The super acid gun is still a very strong gun, especially for level 58. As you can see here, it does, I think maxed out, it does 85 times 60, which is one of the strongest machine guns in the game because there's no damage fall off. So it's saying here on this list here that I have that the max range is 891, which is very, very crazy. Mine's only 324 right now, but that's pretty crazy for the damage and having no fall off. So you just have to get used to the arc. But let's go ahead and take this one here, and I'm not. This weapon almost feels like it's a joke, but it even has a scope on it. You see that? That's hilarious. But I don't think it. Yeah, it doesn't zoom in though, so I'm not sure why there's a scope on it. And then here's. I'll just take one of these. There's different acid guns. There's a standard acid gun that shoots like a machine gun, like this one, and then the super acid gun. And then there's these two. They're like shotguns. So let's go ahead and take the machine gun ones here first. Let's start on this mission here. This first one, level 8, it almost feels like it. Well, it definitely feels like a joke because if you look at the shotguns that are similar level, they do so much more damage than this. I mean, I guess what they could have done is because it doesn't shoot very far, but you can increase the range of this thing. But I almost feel like they could have made this really strong and just made it so you have to be really close range, so it actually kind of be viable. But yeah, as it is, it feels like it's just a joke weapon. And then of course the super acid gun. It looks cool, and it's definitely strong, so I do see people use this on Inferno, so I don't know. It just depends on the, like I said, no damage fall off, so that's kind of cool. But yeah, there's those two. And then there's two shotgun variants, which once again don't have damage fall off, so you can take this one, and then there's this one, which both shoot in different patterns. I don't mind the one that's like a shotgun pattern. The other one's more like a fan pattern, which doesn't seem too good. But yeah, this is pretty much a shotgun with no damage fall off. But of course, it doesn't shoot through enemies, so that kind of. And then this one's kind of wide here, which I really don't use either one of those too much, or actually ever. I don't think I've really used those ever. Seriously, I just tried them out once. But the damage isn't great on it for a level 53 weapon either, so I'm not sure. Too bad. I guess maybe in the future they can make it more viable. The torch has made it back. It does actually show its damage now, so that's kind of interesting. And then the flamethrower weapons. So the flamethrower weapons are exactly the same, unfortunately. It's just really unfortunate because they could have made these weapons actually good this time around, and sometimes I don't know. You ever just wake up in the middle of the night and just eyes wide open, you just start weeping, just uncontrollably? Well, that's how I feel about these flamethrowers. That's not. Did I grab the wrong one? Anyway, the flamethrower has so much potential. It's a fun weapon. It's decent damage. It's not terrible damage, but the range is just so abysmal. It's just so unfortunate. I love the flamethrowers, but yeah, I just can't really use them too much. I mean, it used to be used to block anthills as the enemies spawned out of them, but now that there's a lot less anthills, or actually none except underground, there's really not too much use for the weapon. I mean, you can stun lock enemies as they come out of the drop ships, but I don't know. I don't see the purpose of it. It's too bad. Alright. And did I take the... No, okay, I didn't change to the torch. Okay, that's... Yeah, the torch. Anyway, so on the next class is the Firecrackers. They've made a return, and they are still decent. The burst Firecracker being the best one is decent damage. 362 times 42. So, and then of course this one is also explosive. It has a 3.8 meter blast radius, where this one has a 1. The lower ones have just a 1 blast or 2 blast here. But very strong weapon. It can be used, you know, once in a while in certain circumstances. But once again, it's too bad that you can't take a third weapon slot for Ranger, because I feel like that'd be a perfect weapon to take as like a side weapon, or like a grenade or something as like a third weapon for him. But it does blow up buildings too, actually. But yeah, it's a pretty strong weapon. It's like a stampede, but you don't have to reload it, so that's one positive. And you can just constantly stun enemies, knock enemies down, like spiders and so forth. Can be useful. You can no longer charge it and roll, which is unfortunate. So that kind of reduces the effectiveness of the grenades. So that's too bad. But and then there's bound guns that made it back as well. That bounce off walls. So usually they're lower damage still, and not too viable underground really. Unfortunately, I mean there is. I was looking at this one earlier, the bound shotgun, and let me take both of these. These are kind of interesting. But the bound shotgun has a 540 meter range, and it, you know, it does what, 2,000 damage. So I almost wonder on some if you could actually use that weapon on certain missions, like that one mission where you get to the end of the mission and there's a bunch of anchors with king spiders. I wonder if you just keep shooting that thing. It may take forever. You could actually kill the anchors from way back because of the bounce, but like I said, it would take a long time. But yeah, here's the bounce shotgun. It does kick you back, but you can change your weapons to cancel that. But yeah, it's got a really good range. Let me restart here. I don't want to pull these enemies here. So I mean, the only reason I could ever see using that would be underground. But even then, I don't know. There are probably better ways to do it. And if you ever wanted a weapon that actually you can shoot faster, you can actually run faster than the shots, well, here's your gun. It's they made it back to this game as well. You actually can run in front of it and get hurt by your own weapon. I think you can get hurt by it. But it only has a 90 meter range, which I'm not sure I understand that. Yeah, I guess you can't get hurt by it. That's interesting. I thought for sure you could before in the past. But anyway, yeah, it's definitely a unique weapon. I feel like they could have, if they can make it more viable and interesting, or not interesting, but more viable, I think it would be fun to use. Maybe make a longer range, or maybe make, I don't know. Probably have to adjust the damages to make it useful, but pretty interesting weapon at least. I do like the interesting weapons, but they need to tweak the numbers, I think, to make them viable. So, not too much changes, honestly. Obviously, or not obviously, but this time around, Ranger has access to the C bombs and the impulses instead of air raiders, so that's cool. And of course, these are definitely useful. The C70 bombs here, even all the bombs, based on the level that you can take them into battle, is very strong. This one maxed out does 14,485 damage, and you get 11 of them. So, crank that baby up to 11, and it's pretty useful. And then of course, impulses are back. They're the same. The Y21s are still there, and then the anti-aircraft ones are still here. So let me take some of these. The only issues I've had with the impulses is it seems like on the colonists and the cosmonauts, sometimes they have issues with setting them off. I'm not sure why, but like they won't trip the lasers for some reason. But the ants seem like they're fine. But yeah, they're still very strong, the impulses. But once again, I feel like they could be taken into battles like a third weapon slot very easily. It's just hard to want to take that as your main weapon. So, what is he doing? But yeah, C70 bombs or any of the C bombs are very useful. I wanted to surprise him. And I find myself using these an awful lot, so... And you can of course always strap these to vehicles and all that, so... Let's see if we can keep him from turning around. And this thing is a... I'll go back and check for the official distance, but it's like a 45-meter blast. It's absolutely ridiculous. So I definitely find myself using these an awful lot. Wait for it, wait for it, and go! Oh my goodness. It's definitely good on colonists because it has enough to actually knock their armor off and then kill them too, which is nice. So interesting that he has them now. So I mean, I think it's a good thing because I don't think Air Raider has use for him. Honestly, I think with air raids, it's tough for him to ever want to take like a bomb or impulse into battle because he has air raids. But yeah, 45-meter blast, absolutely ridiculous. And then the impulses, there's the air versions that shoot up in the angle, and there's the ground versions that shoot straight out. So not too much different with that. And then of course the healing weapons, or the healing guns, they've all made it back. So there's the high cycle reversers where you can't heal yourself, but you have a lot of healing. This one has 210,000 healing maxed out. And then there's the ones where you can heal yourself and your friends, which I think are more valuable. Like this one is, it heals like a stream, so you can, or no, this one is the healing bomb, where it actually shoots one large blast. And maxed out, it's actually really good. Let me get the official numbers here, but you get 12 of them maxed out, and 3,600 health. So usually that's where it depends on what you're trying to do in the mission. But yeah, the bomb ones are pretty good. And then of course, if you want to just do, if you just want to do you know, top someone off with their health, they don't have a limited like 10 shots or a 13 shots or whatever it was, then you can just take the other version of it as well. Let me take both of these. I mean, these are same weapon types or healing guns as the previous game. So if you've seen those, then you've seen these. But for the sake of those who haven't played the previous games, this is the reverser one where you only can heal other people, but you have so much healing. And then of course the bomb, huge blast, just a ridiculous blast. So it's good for healing. If you're like, usually I take it on missions where you need healing really fast and you need to heal multiple people really fast. But if you're able to heal slower, then it's better to take the other version, because you can aim down on these, the ones that shoot like a stream. You can aim down at your feet and heal yourself and the other person at the same time. I recommend, if you're trying to heal someone else, I recommend that you have the person that has the healing gun aim down and tell the other person that wants to get healed to walk into the person that's shooting. That way you'll be able to heal them easier together at the same time and not waste your healing. Because if you have the person shooting the gun try and walk into the person they're trying to heal, because of the lag, sometimes it's hard to tell if they're healing them or not. So it's just easier for for me, like if I had the gun, I would just aim down and shoot and tell the person to walk into me to heal themselves, and I can heal myself and I can heal the other person. So pretty useful. All right. See, I think, yeah, it's all for the item, or all for the weapons. Overall, I think Ranger feels really good this time. I'm really happy with him. I'm a little disappointed with the nerf in the sniper rifle department, but I really am happy that he actually has, you know, close and medium range combat. He's really good at that, and his missiles are really good too right now, which I'm really happy with as well. So pretty cool overall. Definitely happy with his. And then, oh yeah, he still has the beacon or the decoy launcher as well. If you have the DLC, I really wish they would actually use this or make more higher level decoy launchers, because they're definitely fun to mess around with. And it's just too bad that they're only low level. So plus they dance. Actually, let me go back really quick and show something that I noticed, which is kind of funny. Let me take a weapon. Not too strong a weapon though. But I would like them to shoot further, and I would like them to have a little bit more health, just so you can do some more interesting tactics with them. Because they don't, well, these do last, actually. But, let me shoot one here. Let me wait till the graphics load in here. But yeah, they do dance and sing, but as you shoot them, I noticed they actually get damage to their outfits. Like where I knocked off an outer part of her outfit, and then even I don't know if there's another layer where, no, I guess not. It's just you can knock off her outfit, which is kind of funny, or knock off her armor. It's like it's actually taking damage where you're shooting, which is interesting too. I didn't notice that before. But yeah, you can shoot off the armor, which is kind of funny. So you can't shoot her helmet off, though. But anyway, okay. Let's go ahead and move on. Alright, let's move on to the items really quick here now. Because now that Ranger has items, it actually is pretty interesting choices to make as far as what you want to take. He has... Let me go ahead and pull up the equipment here. He has items that increase his speed. So this first section increases his speed, such as his walk speed, his running speed, his acceleration, and so forth. So, for example, let's see what these say. So, like this one example increases walk speed and sprinting by 20% and 10%. And then, like, there's also things that also, like, for example, this will, if you're running, this will, or even rolling or walking, like when you get hit, you know how you get stunned a little bit? This will reduce that stun by 50%. And then, of course, it starts combining the two. So, example, this one, walking speed 10% more, running speed 20% more, and then reduces reduction from taking damage, your speed as well, by 50%. And then, of course, it goes up from there. This one gives you a max sprinting of 100 or 50%, but the acceleration is lower, and the turning, like when you're running, the turning is lower. It's hard to make sharp turns. And then, of course, it goes up to, like, for example, this one is really fast acceleration, and then the max running speed is increased by 25%. Just stuff like that, for example. Like, and then this one, for example, actually reduces all stun yeah, stun, I guess, pretty much from when you're rolling or walking or sprinting by 100%. So you don't take any stun damage. So you can't be stun locked to death. You can get away, which is kind of cool. And then, of course, they start mixing those as well. And then I think my favorite one is this one right here for the higher level, because, you know, they start adding like speed reduction, 0%, and then they can run through obstacles. So they start combining the two. It's hard to remember these because of I don't speak Japanese, so I do have to look at a list, but you kind of memorize the ones that are really good. And then I think this was the one I used an awful lot. This one is 200%. Yeah, I think that's the best one. 200% sprint increase, so increase it by double your sprinting speed. And acceleration isn't bad, it's 75%, or 100% rather, and then turning is 75%, so you can still turn relatively well. But the benefit of this is you're really fast, so 200% sprinting speed, and then on top of that, you don't take any stun from when you're getting shot. So if you want to stay, you know, mobile in a mission, and you plan on getting hit and running away, if you're kiting enemies or running away from cosmonauts, this is a good one because you can run through obstacles and you won't get slowed down when you're getting shot, so you can just constantly run away. So pretty useful. And then the best one has a 400% sprint increase, and so you're almost instantly sprinting, and then you increase your sprinting speed by 40%. And what's the 200%? 200% is turning speed, so you can turn really fast, and then you can destroy obstacles on this one. So a lot of variety. Let me go ahead and take this one really quick and show it. I'll show the two major ones that I use. So it is kind of cool. I was kind of concerned at the beginning of the game, you know, the sprinting wasn't going to be viable because of just, it seemed so slow, which it was, but you can definitely increase, like this, for example, my walking speed as well is increased by double, so this is definitely a decent one. And then once you sprint, you're almost instantly sprinting, so that's kind of cool. So so pretty useful. That's probably your most useful one if you're just trying to be mobile overall. But like I said, the one I use more often is probably the 200% here, because you can really run fast and you can really get away from the enemy if you need to. So definitely useful. You don't sprint quite as fast, but it's not terrible. But once you start, like I said, you can't get really stun locked to slow you down. So let me run by some frogs and show that as they shoot me. And you can run through obstacles. Did he really not see me? I know I'm fast, but I'm not that fast. There he goes. So as you can see, I'm getting shot, but I'm not getting slowed down. So pretty useful. Alright, let's go back. Alright, and then the next column of items is missile launchers. You can increase the lock-on range of your missiles and the lock-on speed, and also you can also have an item that locks all your missiles onto one target as well. So, for example, here this one will increase your range by 300%, and it'll increase your lock-on time by double. So it'll double your lock-on time. So if it's 4 seconds to lock on a target, it'll be only 2 seconds, and so that's pretty nice. And then level 70, like one like this, there's different level versions of each of these, of course, but and where this one is, it has a lock-on speed of 200%, and you can lock onto a single enemy, all your missiles onto a single enemy. So very useful with the missile launcher category. So let me go ahead and pick one of these that lets you lock multiple missiles onto one target. So it makes a missile launcher like this one, for example, that shoots 200 times 2 times 30 rockets. You can put all those rockets onto one target. So pretty fun, and increases your lock-on lock-on speed. So the ones that increase your lock-on, the ones that let you multiple lock-on to one single target, unfortunately they don't increase your distance, but they can increase your lock-on speed. But anyway, so it's pretty fun. So you can kind of use these other missile launchers that aren't intended for single targets as a single target missile launcher, which is pretty cool. Let me restart here because I got pulled too many here. Yeah, I found this very useful because it is a tough choice, because you do have to, you can't take a weapon. Oh wow, I just killed him. You can't take a weapon, or I mean, you can't take a vehicle if you choose one of these items, of course, and you have to reduce your speed. You can't take a speed item either, so it's definitely a tough choice, but sometimes it's definitely useful in certain missions to just lock all your missiles on one target. It's definitely fun, and it's good stun lock for like one like this where it's so many missiles going to one target. Crazy. But yeah, very fun, very cool idea. I'm happy they added that. So there's the missile section there, and then the next section is healing. So you can now actually increase the amount of healing you receive and the healing done to NPCs by 10%, 25, 50, and then 100% and 150%. So pretty cool. You can be a dedicated healer if you wanted to actually, protect your NPCs. Maybe some missions that could be useful, or just healing yourself as well more. So that's an interesting item as well. And then there is the collection rings, which is, see, there's this level 7 here. I want to see what this is. It's a DLC. Okay, increases the ring around you. I don't think I've ever used that. So that one gives you 10% extra healing to NPCs, and then 50% ring. So, but anyway, but then there's these rings. So it starts off low, of course, 100%. So what these do is they don't just give you a larger ring. What they do is they give you a ring even if you're walking. You don't have to be, like, usually if you're sprinting, you'll have that collection ring around you. But with these items, they'll have the collection ring around you all the time, and then you can actually have them larger and larger and larger, up to 1,000%. So let me take the 1,000% here. So you can be a walking titan, you know, the Titan tank has a huge ring, so you can be that if you wanted to. Of course, it is not the greatest because you know you'd be taking items you don't need, such as healing items. But I've used it sometimes, like if you're farming weapons or items, it's easier to collect, or if you're trying to stay in one location and you need extra healing, it can be helpful sometimes. I don't know. I find it, you know, certain circumstances is useful, but you know, it's definitely specific to a certain strategy or something you're trying to do. But as you can see, that ring around me will collect all items within that ring. So yeah, it's definitely interesting. Like I said, I have used it to collect. Like I can see using it even like if you're farming armor or something, and you use, you know, split screen, two characters. You have the wing diver shooting up, you know, up in the air with there's a mission. Let me go back here a second. There's a mission that drops silver spiders, and if you're playing offline with no limits, you can take that collection ring. I think it's 30 something. This one right here. This one actually on Inferno, or no. I don't, yeah, I guess on easy it wouldn't drop silvers. Let me check really quick. Oops, I didn't mean to pick Inferno. But I could see you could always take wing diver, aim up, you know, as it drops the silver spiders, and then have the ranger stand next to her and collect the items for you. So that's a possibility. I want to see if on normal or on easy, I mean, if there's silver spiders. I don't think there would be. They're the one, it's the ship in the back. What is it dropping? It's actually further back. It's the one that's a little bit further back than that. Let me change to fast sprint so I can get there faster. %, okay. But I'm curious about that as far as, because there's not too many spawns of the silver spiders I've noticed in the campaign. So silver spiders are definitely still the way to go if you're farming armor. Alright, what is that dropping? Looks to me like normal brown spiders. I mean, doesn't mean you still can't do it. You can still have, you know, wing diver aiming up with a rapier and killing them. Yeah, it's just brown spiders, so that wouldn't work. You would need to be on hardest or inferno, I believe. But even so, if you could kill them fast enough, you might be able to get away with it. But I don't know. I haven't tried it. But anyway, that's all the items for Ranger. I think he's definitely improved overall as a class. I'm very happy with Ranger this time around, and I definitely find it more enjoyable and not as frustrating to play as him. But yeah, next time I plan on covering Wing Diver. A lot of changes with her, so it's going to be interesting to go through all the weapons. But anyway, thanks again for watching. I hope to see you on the next video.